Okay, so let's go back to you're with Mitch and you're doing heroin. Was it just the two of you that lived together, or did other people live with you?
I mean, at various times, there were different drug dealers. When we had a place, we didn't always have a place, you
Mhm.
know. We were constantly moving, constantly being separated. But when we had a place of our own, people would crash and stay, and we'd get, drugs. I mean, it always was like one hand washes the other kind of a thing. But
You were still on the East Coast, right?
we were at that point, and that's what I was going to say. In 2006, he ended up just leaving me without really notifying me. He just like his mother lived in California, and she offered him a brand new start, fresh start. I don't know exactly what the circumstances were
Well,
between.
what was like the years that you were with him?
I was with him from 2003 until 2009.
Okay.
So in 2006, he took off to California. His mom gave him a place of his own, a car, a fresh start. He got a job, whatever.
Mhm.
And he left me completely on my own. For me, it was just the most, devastating thing to ever happen to me. I mean, in that twisted lifestyle, I really believed that I loved him more than anything. It gets so, muddled in your head. That whole thing gets twisted. But anyway, so I was completely devastated. And I went back to my mom's house and slept on the couch. I was there for 3 months maybe. And I kept my phone. My mother kept my phone on. Like, she would pay my bill every month because she said, he's going to call you. He's going to call you. She wanted me with him. Even though she knew everything, she wanted me with him. And he did. He called me. In the midst of all that, I had stolen the gun, sold the gun for drugs, sold it to a drug dealer who then sold it to a
Wait,
gang
so
member.
he wasn't with you when you stole the.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, because so I mean, I know, but as far as people know, they don't know that you stole a weapon from somebody and you sold it.
I did.
Yeah. So while he was gone, he left to California to try to get clean again. Is that basically what he was
Yeah,
gonna
I
do?
think so. I think that was his intention. Just together, we were not a good
Yeah.
combination. But anyhow, he missed me and ended up calling me. I was facing, serious charges, and I was facing, jail time. And I got out on bail, and I
So he
had a
was
court.
gone when you stole the gun. Tell me again, like the story of what you did while he was gone. So
Yeah, I was sleeping in my stepbrother's room. I was on the phone with my drug dealer, and it was like 2 in the morning, and I'm like begging him to just give me some stuff. I don't have any money, but I'll work it off, whatever. And he's like at the point of cutting me off completely. No, I can't do it anymore, kind of a thing.
mhm.
And I picked up a sweatshirt. I never intended to find a gun. It wasn't part of my plan. I didn't know. But I picked up a sweatshirt, and out fell a Glock handgun. And when I found it, I was on the phone with my drug dealer. So I'm still like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just found a gun. And he's like, what? I mean, his ears perked up, and he was like, what? And he was like, what is it? What does it say? Da, da, da. If you bring that to me right now, I'll give you whatever you want. So I
Good.
did.
Yeah.
I did. I put it in a backpack, and I'm walking through the city at 2:30 in the morning. Again, completely brazen and thinking that I'm not doing anything wrong. It took me so long to even realize the severity of what I was doing. It took me after prison. I mean, I literally never understood what I did.
Yeah.
And I sold it to him. And I'm still staying at my mom's house. My brother comes back, and he's wondering where his gun is. And he's like, I know it was you. You're the only one in here who's a drug addict. I know it was you. And I'm like, oh, no, it's not me. Whatever. Unbeknownst to me, he's having the police follow me. They're taking photographs of me. They're getting pictures of me and the drug dealer together. They're creating a case, and I don't even know because I'm so high.
Yeah.
I wake up one morning on the couch. The police are standing over me. They let the police into my mom's house because they wanted me out.
Yeah.
And they took me. And then that was it. I got charged. I went before the judge. I did a month in prison. I came out, finally talked my way out. So I got bail. And I had no intention of staying. I knew I wasn't going to go. The day that I walked out of my last court hearing, when they said you're facing 20 years, I was like, yeah, I'm not. I'm out of here.
Yes.
And I left. I got on a bus and I went to California.
Did Mitch know that you were coming to California? Or
Yeah, he did. He did. He came and picked me up at the bus station.
were you like, hey, I'm going? So go back to you talked to Mitch. He had called you.
Yeah, he called me, and I don't remember exactly what was said because I was so high all of the time. But I do know that he said he was clean, and that if I were to come out there, I needed to be clean. So the whole bus ride is when I detoxed. I took a 4-day bus ride from Rhode Island to California. I detoxed on that bus ride. I slept the whole time. I lied and told people I was pregnant so I could have a whole seat to myself. And I slept. And he came and got me, and it was good for like, I'm going to say 2 or 3 weeks. And then he had me calling my mom for some drugs. He said, I don't mind doing drugs if we don't pay for them. So my mom started mailing us packages of fentanyl, Dilaudid, and Oxycontin. She mailed them to me every week. We had tons. And then
she had cancer, so she just got.
She didn't have it anymore. She beat it, but they were still giving her all those drugs. This was back in a time when
you could go get whatever you wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were getting stuff from her. So then, of course, after a while, that tolerance again, and then you're needing more and more. So before long, we started doing dope out there, and it was much more potent. It was called black tar. It was only $10 a bag, and yeah, we
at that time in California, you had a place to stay.
Very short place to stay because we ruined it. I mean, it was his mother's house, one of her houses. They were real estate agents, and they gave us one of their properties to live in. And of course, that didn't last. Nothing lasted. We tried to maintain semblance of not being high. She never knew, which is always so amazing to me, how she never knew. But for years, we were living, a drug addicted lifestyle completely. And she just never knew. And she was our sole source of income and scamming. And we hustled her all the time. It was terrible. He mostly did, to be honest. It was his mother, and she just had a weakness when it came to him. I don't know how she never saw the truth, but whatever. So yeah, she was always putting us up in different places. Mm-hmm. And then we were staying in a hotel at this point when I got pregnant. I got pregnant with my 3rd child in addiction. Mm-hmm. And at first we were so happy because I wasn't that far along. So we thought, okay, and I thought I could just clean up and do the right thing. And I really tried. He was still getting high. He was still doing the same things. And I was getting so resentful. I was so bitter. I was so angry. And I was jealous.
Yeah.
I was so jealous. I used to cry myself to sleep, knowing he was just in that wonderful haze that I thought was so wonderful. And I was, having to suffer because I was pregnant. Mm-hmm. And I got high for a few, I think I was 3 months along, and then I got on methadone. And at the time, I didn't really know anything about methadone as far as being addictive, being a problem for a baby. It was completely legal for a mother to be pregnant and give methadone to her baby. Mm-hmm. So I thought I was doing the right thing, and I was happy with that compromise.
Yeah.
He still got high. He got high the whole time that I was pregnant. Mm-hmm. And it was really crazy, because then I wasn't clear-headed, but I wasn't high like I used to be. So I had more of a, ability to handle things.
Mm-hmm.
And I really started to see like differently. And I started to see the selfishness of addiction through him.
Yeah.
And it was really just a difficult time. And then
And
I gave
all the while, you're wanted in another state on the other.
all the while I am a fugitive from justice.
Yeah.
That's what I was. I mean, I have the paperwork. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did you, I mean, because I don't know how that would happen, but I mean, were you ever fearful of like going to the doctor or going?
I wasn't afraid of the doctors, but I was always afraid that he was going to turn me in because he used to threaten me all of the time.
Yeah.
And he used to threaten me that he was going to tell his mother, and his mother was going to have me extradited. And I lived in that constant fear all of the time. And getting pregnant was kind of like my saving grace.
Because you had a tie to him to keep you. You had a tie, like you had a tie to him, a link to him to keep you there.
I mean, she really, really was hopeful that, again, she didn't know that we were in addiction, but she still saw the damage that our lifestyle was causing.
Right.
Not knowing it was addiction, but not understanding why. Why wasn't I doing the laundry? Why wasn't I keeping the house clean? Why wasn't I cooking? Why wasn't Mitch working? Why wasn't, why was he crashing like a new car every single week? Every week she had to buy him a new car because he was getting high and crashing cars every time. And she never knew he was high. It was so weird.
But do you really think she didn't know, or do you think
she didn't know? No, she didn't know.
Really?
She didn't. No, I don't know how she didn't know, but she's not someone who was educated about addiction.
Yeah. See, like me, I'm more educated now, but I could see.
If you're not educated and you don't know, you just think that there are other things going on. So you make excuses for the lack of responsibility.
Right.
So I gave birth. And the night that I gave birth, it was ridiculous. I was going into labor and he was passed out from being high, and I kept trying to wake him up, and he was like, just go back to bed. I'm not doing this right now. And I'm like, I'm in agony. The baby's coming. And I'm like, the baby's coming. Like, you have to take me. So he finally took me to the hospital. It's pouring rain out. I thought for sure I was going to give birth in that car because it was so close. I made it to the room just in time, and that was it. That baby came out within seconds. I mean, I didn't have any time. And when the baby was born, he was born fully addicted.
Wow.
Fully addicted. I had no preparation for that. I had no idea that taking methadone for all that time was going to, produce an addiction in my baby, in my son. And I was so horrified, and I was so scared, and I never hated drugs and methadone more than when I watched him. I mean, he was shaking. He couldn't calm himself. He cried all the time. He was just so tiny. Just this little baby, And it was like, I knew I did this to him. And it was the most horrifying reality for me at that moment, like just knowing. It was this crazy thing that I did in my head before I had him, where I convinced myself somehow, some way, because I couldn't see him, because I didn't have a connection, but there wasn't like a baby living inside of me or something. I somehow separated myself from that reality.
Mm-hmm.
But when he was born, just tremendous amounts of guilt and regret and love, I mean, the love that I felt. And I was so horrified at the fact that I had done this to this baby, this helpless little tiny baby. And he stayed. He was in the NICU for a month. He was on a feeding tube, and the whole thing, the breathing stuff. I mean, he was on everything. And I was so scared the whole time, every day, that they were going to just like take him away from me.
Yeah.
Just was like waiting. They're going to take him.
Okay.
And Mitch, like we made a promise. Holding our baby, we made a promise that we would never do drugs again. That we were going to change everything because of this baby.
Yeah.
Because we loved him, and we were so sorry, and we really grieved our choices, and we really grieved, and it was probably the first time in a long time that we felt anything for each other, even. Yeah. Like in the midst of all of the stuff that had gone on, so much had happened, and it was the first time that we actually kind of bonded as a family in a weird way. So we were just constantly afraid that they were going to take him, and we didn't want his mom to find out that I was even on methadone. She didn't even know. And
were you being prescribed it, or how did you get it?
No, yeah, you're prescribed. Yeah, you have to go to a clinic every day and take it.
Yeah.
And you get drug tested every time, and they make sure that you're not doing drugs, especially when you're pregnant, and just all that.
Yeah.
But for the fact that methadone was completely legal, I mean, now I have so many ideas and opinions about methadone, and I think it's one of the worst things ever created. I think that it's a lie straight from hell that convinces drug addicts that they're clean if they're on methadone. You're not.
Well,
You're not.
Even me, like, I mean, the myth, I mean, I'm like, when you said that, when you said that he was born and he was addicted to methadone, I mean, even I have such ignorance to it, because
I did too.
Still prescribe methadone?
Was he?
No, don't they still prescribe methadone to people?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. It's completely detrimental to anyone who takes it, and you're still in active addiction. I mean, I was still getting high off of it. Listen, I'm going to just let you know the truth. As an addict, when you're given the alternative of Suboxone or methadone, because you're still an addict, you want anything. And if you're told, well, you can't have heroin anymore, but you can have methadone, yeah, it's not going to get me as high as the heroin did, but trust me, I was high.
It'll take the edge off, yeah.
And as an addict, you love that free pass. You love it. I loved the free pass of believing, yeah, I'm clean, I'm sober. I wasn't. I was totally gone. Totally gone.
I didn't know that you had to like go in. I don't know really what I thought. I guess I thought it was just like a medication that you took every day to.
It is, but that's how they present it. It's a medication.
They administer it to you.
They present it as if it's like a vitamin.
Yeah. See, I mean,
it's that's the same.
So when you're saying that your son was addicted when he was born.
Yeah.
And so what do they just let he had to detox himself, basically?
They had to give him opium. They gave him pure opium. Wow. Tincture of opium is what they gave my son. Now listen, I'm going to be completely honest. I did not expect to have an addicted baby.
Right.
I didn't know.
That's why I'm like I'm trying to, I mean, my heart pours out to you because it's very emotional, and I obviously can see that you were reliving that moment. But I'm like, wait, but what do you mean he was addicted? It's the ignorance I have about.
I had that same ignorance. I did not know. I had no expectations of ever encountering that when I had my child. And it was really an eye-opener. And, you know, now, I mean, he's, you know, it's 10 years later, and it's like, I will never know what that really has done to him. That's going to be a battle for the rest of his life. He's got two parents who were in addiction when he was conceived. And then he was addicted.